The Baldwins. Waaaaggghhh. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It's not a particularly good time to be a Baldwin. I received an email from a long-standing and loyal client and viewer of mine that simply stated, Hilaria kicked off Dancing with the Stars, Alec hit a tree. I have to admit, that made me laugh, but such is the twisted sense of humour of your glorious narrator. Let's examine what's been going on, and starting with perma-angry narcissist Alec Baldwin. Baldwin put in a brief but exceptional performance in the brilliant film Glengarry Glen Ross, and in this he explained the principle of ABC, always be closing. It would appear that he's transferred that into the vehicular world by stating always be crashing, as he was out driving in the Hamptons with his brother Stephen for the Hamptons Film Festival when he drove into a tree. It also appears that the white Range Rover that he was driving wasn't his, but, belonged to his wife, Hilaria. As you can see in the thumbnail, he's on the phone, and one could imagine that he's calling her and saying, yeah, Hilaria, how do you say fucked? Because, judging from the photographs, the front end is completely totaled. Apparently, what happened was he had to swerve to avoid a massive garbage truck that cut him off. Naturally, it's not Alec Baldwin's fault. It's probably the case that he'll say that whilst his hands were on the wheel, the accelerator just pressed itself down and the car took off of its own. After all, it's never his fault. Or that he beeped the horn, but the tree just wouldn't give way to him, and thus an ensuing crash, but the tree is at fault. As you do, he took to Instagram after the crash, once again demonstrating the narcissist's need to share so many aspects of their life and to, in effect, address the issue of the threat to control posed by this occurrence. He took to Instagram and said that he crashed his wife Hilaria's white Range Rover after swerving to avoid a massive garbage truck that cut him off. He explained he was with his brother Stephen for the Hamptons Film Festival when it happened, adding, I crushed my wife's car, and I feel bad about that. But it's all fine. I'm fine. My brother's fine. He ended the clip saying, Hilaria, I love you more than anything, and I'm very proud of you. Now, you might wonder, why did he say that? I mean, after all, it's not like that he's come crawling out of the wreck, blood gushing from various wounds, as he has a near-death experience. We'll return to the premise of his message, I love you more than anything and I'm very proud of you, in a moment. But here we are. Alec Baldwin crashes Hilaria's car. And naturally, it's not going to be his fault. And in order to ensure that people know that it was not his fault, he takes to social media. Now, it might be the case that what he's explaining is correct, that the garbage truck was at fault, and therefore he had to swerve. After all, the narcissist will use the truth as you understand it to be to pursue the prime aims. But as you also know, as per my excellent video, The Truth, the Half-Truth and Nowhere Near the Truth, the narcissist will often twist the truth, mainly subconsciously and in an unaware fashion, but done by their narcissism. It remains to be seen, as the crash only happened recently, but we'll find out in due course where the fault lies. But the point is that immediately this narcissist takes to social media to have to tell the world, I'm okay, it was not my fault, I had to swerve to avoid a garbage truck. The garbage truck was the problem. And in so doing, that is an attempt to nullify the threat to control posed by the suggestion that he's at fault for having a crash. After all, if you'd had a crash in your car, would one of your main concerns be to take to Instagram and tell the world about the fact that you are okay? You'd probably ring your mum and say, "Mum, I've had a crash, but don't worry, I'm okay." You may well ring your partner and say, "Bad news, darling, I've totaled the car." And they'll probably go, "Oh, well, I'm sure it'll buff out, or a bit of tea-cut will sort it." But the fact is, a narcissist such as Alec Baldwin, he needs the world to know what's been going on. And most importantly of all, he needs the world to know that it wasn't his fault. Now, what about this section of his Instagram post which states, "Hilaria, I love you more than anything and I'm very proud of you"? Well, this is a consequence of the fact that not only has he totaled his wife's car, which undoubtedly would mean that the pseudo-Spanish maniac is going to give him a hard time, but he's also aware of the fact that she's just got the old Spanish archer, elbow, the old heave-ho, from Dancing with the Stars. Yes, she's been voted off. Her and her professional partner, Gleb Savchenko, became the fourth couple to be voted off the show a week or so ago. And this again demonstrates the narcissist that is Hilaria Baldwin, because guess what? The reason that she was voted off wasn't as a consequence of perhaps an under-par performance, or that she's not a particularly good dancer, or that her routines didn't resonate with the watching audience, or that perhaps because you're not a particularly likeable person, that means that many people regard you as someone that they'd want to vote off. No, it can't be any of those things, because that would mean that Hilaria Baldwin was at fault. If she's a shitty dancer, that suggests she's at fault. If she's a shitty person, that suggests that she's at fault. And as you know, the narcissist is never at fault. No. Here's why she was voted off. Hilaria Baldwin says bullies, yes, bullies, boo hiss, are to blame for her sudden exit from Dancing with the Stars. She explained that she was intentionally bullied off the show thanks to a deluge of internet hate and a coordinated campaign to get her voted off. She's been bullied on the internet. Who does that sound like? She said, "I'm very new to TikTok. I've only been on a couple of months," Baldwin said during a recent chat with Us Weekly. "It's interesting because there's a lot of mean girls. Yeah, you're one of them. I guess what people were doing is they were having campaigns where they wouldn't just vote for their favourite, because you can vote 10 times for a couple. They were voting for all the other couples except us. So they were boosting everybody else and trying to drown out my fan base." Yes, sure, that's credible. After all, what evidence have you got that that's what's actually taking place? No, it's the simple paranoia of the narcissist. "I'm amazing and wonderful and a brilliant dancer." What? I've been voted off? How so? Oh, it could only be as a consequence of a concerted campaign to vote for everybody else except me. That's the only reason why I would be booted off. Sure it is. And she's maintained this claim because in an Instagram video she stated, "I would be remiss if I didn't address the elephant in the room, which is that there was some bullying going on aimed at me over the past few weeks. Very coordinated, very strategic bullying, and I feel the darkness that undoubtedly brings to me. I always want to remember that my life belongs to the whole community, and I want to leave a lasting mark of courage to speak up against what is simply wrong." Oh, fuck off, you self-absorbed clown. All you're doing is appearing on a dancing programme, and you're only known because you happen to shag quite a lot, admittedly so, a famous actor. Other than that, we wouldn't know about you. Your mark of courage, my backside. What evidence has she got that this is a coordinated strategic bullying? None. She doesn't provide any. She continued stating in the Instagram post, "One of the most common things that people say to me when they actually meet me, is how surprised they are by negativity that I receive." What? A bit like a certain somebody who says that pilots thank her for being her. Yeah, right. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't go, "Oh, Hilaria, by the way, I'm ever so surprised by all the negativity that you receive." Yeah, because that's the first thing that's on your mind, isn't it? When you're thinking about how you say cucumber. Because in reality, she continued, I am none of the negative things that people say, and that breaks my heart. So she offers no actual evidence to support the proposition that people were voting for everybody but her, other than the fact that, oh look, everybody did vote for other people than her because she got booted off. And this gives you interesting insight into the mind of the narcissist. The facts are, she didn't receive enough votes, which meant that she was voted off. She cannot accept that that can be genuine, that she would be the least favourite. She cannot comprehend that that might be because people don't like her, or they weren't particularly drawn to her style of dancing or her performance. No. It must be, it absolutely must be, as a consequence of the fact that people have decided, hey, psst, let's vote for everybody else. Hey, you over there, vote for everybody else except Hilaria. Hi, guess what? Just dropping into your DMs to let you know, vote for anybody but Hilaria. You see, if there was any evidence, you would expect her to say, look, here are some tweets on X, some postings on X that explain this is what they were up to. Doesn't offer anything. The fact is, it's just her paranoia. And it's the job of her narcissism to ensure that she blame shifts. It cannot conceivably be because she's not likeable. It must be because these people have got it in for her. The mindset that you see with this one's wife. And as a consequence of this, because her being voted off is a threat to control, her narcissism must deal with that. So how does it deal with it? By suggesting that she has been bullied in effect, that she's been picked on, that there's been this orchestrated campaign to have her removed. That's what must be behind it. And furthermore, just like her husband, she has to take to social media to tell the world that this is what's going on. In the way that he tells the world about the fact that he's okay after the car crash, she has to go on Instagram to tell everybody, the reason that I was voted off was because there's been a campaign of bullying against me. It's not fair. Wah, wah, wah. Accordingly, you can see that Baldwin, in order to assert control over his wife, was moved to say that he was very proud of her because she had just been kicked off Dancing with the Stars. And yet again, the Baldwins provide us with an excellent example of the way that the narcissist never accepts responsibility for their behaviours. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.